kind of compared to your previous run, basically in the same position, 10 mil up or 10 mil down, you're getting better. The thing is, you can know someone's CDA, but it's how you achieve that is the whole other thing.
If you follow the world of professional triathlon, then you will very likely recognise the name of David McNamee. In 2015, he posted the fastest run split in his debut at the Ironman World Championships. In 2017, he placed third at the Ironman World Championships, and in 2018, he backed that up again with another third place finish. So all very impressive stuff, but it is that elusive top spot that he is really after, obviously along with every other pro in the game. And to add to that, we are witnessing more and more pros turning to this thing that we like to call marginal gains, meaning Dave has really got his work cut out for that top spot. Which brings us to this place here, because right now inside, Dave is riding around the velodrome in search for some aerodynamic gains. So I don't know about you, but I am very excited to get inside, see what it's all about, see how it works, and see what they're searching for, and more importantly, how many savings Dave can make. Well, there he is, rolling around, looking very good. But obviously he is not out here to make all these marginal gains on his own. No, he has only gone and enlisted the help of Hoop Wattbike cyclist and 10-time British champion, Dan Bigham. So very excited to sit back now and see what's about to happen.
We've got David in to effectively try and find a bit more aero gains. Aero is now an arms race. Everything about technology is, and it's becoming so commonplace for other athletes to go in aero tests, whether it is in the wind tunnel, whether it's on a track, whether it's open road. Even now CFD is becoming somewhat commonplace. So yeah, if Dave's not doing it, and if in honesty, he's falling behind. So in comparison to a wind tunnel, where you're effectively on a glorified turbo trainer having the wind blown over you, on the track you're riding your own bike. We're measuring wind speed, wheel speed, power data, inertial measurements, effectively tyre loads, banking angles, lots of other things, and counting for all that, all the energy, figuring out where that goes. Is it to your tyres, to your drivetrain, to your accelerating your mass? And then at the end of it, the equation, we can figure out your drag coefficient, and we do that every single second throughout a test run, take an average, there you go, make a change, go back on track, continue on with the test, and then yeah, just iteratively, hopefully improve throughout. We'll do 5 laps in your natural position, as you normally ride doing that on the road. Yeah. 5 laps in your shrug position, so really focus on getting your head down. Yeah. Come back in, crunch numbers, change. Right, hop on.
Every guy that's trying to win Hawaii is either in the velodrome or in the wind tunnel, finding these gains. I think to win Hawaii, it's all about improving yourself year on year, and I definitely see that sort of efficiency I can improve, especially when I compare myself towards Patrick, Jan and Keenly, and yeah, it's very much a process every year of how do I improve.
But is there anything particular that screams at you from I feel like this is going wrong or that's going wrong? I'm sliding on the saddle, my neck hurts, my back hurts.
My neck hurts. Neck hurts.
What we'll do, try this run, I think we'll probably end up coming up.
Yeah.
Try up and up and up until the comfort relieves. Yeah. See if that means you can hold the head position for a lot better. Yeah. A few things we can try with the helmet again like we did before with the trip lines, see if that helps out. But yeah, right, we'll run that for the first one. So grab your lid.
Okay, so today you're hearing a lot about marginal gains. Now, marginal gains is these small incremental changes to our setup and to our position that actually to a lot of us might seem rather pointless and rather meaningless, but actually it's this aggregation of marginal gains that can have a huge performance benefit. And that is where this term CDA comes in. That is our coefficient of drag, it's our aerodynamic drag. Now, the lower that number, the more aerodynamic we are and the faster we could potentially go. And that is precisely what Dave is striving for today.
David's standard position coming in at 0.236 for a CDA. When he shrugs his head down, he gets to 233, so he's saving about 3 watts or so from his head shrug, which isn't all that much, to be honest. Most people can get close towards 10 watts for a head shrug, but that's probably a factor of he does hold a naturally good head position, but also he has a few impingements at the same time that can't go quite past that to really get his head super low. Could be a factor of his helmet, but obviously that's the limitation of the sponsorship, so we have to run with that. First step we've gone for is 10 mil lower on the stack height, just to see what happens there. It's probably the wrong direction, I would think, but we've got time to play about, so go with that first and then come back up on the stack, see where we get to. So you're 236, 233. That was 4 watts quicker in your natural position, probably close to that. 2 watts in your shrugged, but then it's going to hurt. So let's come up, see what happens, see where we're at, see if we can reach a nice optimum. When we've come up, got to a good point, then I want to try the trip tape again on that helmet that we did before, see what happens there, and then play about with the extension angle as well, which is the tilt underneath, isn't it, the bottle. Okay. We're now 3 runs in. We've gone lower on his stack by 10 mil and then higher on his stack by 10 mil relative to baseline. We found about 3 watts both ways, so where he was originally, not all that great. Both for different reasons, where his head position is for each of them varies, but it seems to be a better thing to be higher in the stack height, a bit more comfort. Obviously his variance as well was a little bit lower, which means he's more stable in that position. His CDA is more consistent, which is another factor we start to look at rather than just outright aero performance, is how stable is that and how well you can hold that for the race. So variance is a way of just contextualizing how stable a position is. So what we're doing is measuring his drag coefficient, his CDA, over the whole test run, but also measuring it every single half lap and how that varies relative to the averages, or we express it as a coefficient of variance. And Dave, throughout the test, we've been bringing his stack height up and up and up, and his variance has been dropping as well. So it's just another good measure of how stable and consistent he is at holding the position. And shock horror, being higher, more comfortable, means he can hold his position more stably.
So it's finding that balance point, right?
Yeah, exactly that. So we have gone too high, we've gone over that tipping point, and aerodynamically took about a 5 watt hit when we went a bit too high. So we've come back down, still in a very stable position, but also aerodynamically optimal, and then started to move around with his arm angle now to see what we can do with that. Cool, I'm just going to measure the extension tips. So. Okay, we're bang on 102, so we'll go to 105. Okay.
Okay, so we're full flow here. They've played around a lot with the elbow height, the arm height, and also even the hand height. So they've figured that bit out. Now onto the saddle height. So they've actually dropped it down by 10 mil. We're going to see what the results are from that.
Like, this is okay when I'm like fat during the winter, but as soon as I get skinny,
got no padding. So what we'll do, we'll come up 20 mil from where we are now, so back higher. Everyone is different. Every person has different flexibilities, have different limb lengths, have different ranges of movement, and it just means your bike position is of course going to be different. So you can't just take what works for one person and apply it to another. So you've got to go through that testing loop and just optimize. And it's not just a straight up science, there is some trial and error to it. You need to try different things and see what works for each person.
Okay, Dan, that looked really exciting down there. What's the results of today?
So really productive day all round. David, he's come for the last 2 years on the trot, so fairly well dialed in, knows what works for him, but each year equipment changes, so just re-optimizing around that. So the first thing we did, went through a stack height sweep. In the end, we got him 30 mil higher than baseline, and I think it's about 5 watts better off across his 2 head positions. His natural head position is shrugged.
So that's quite interesting. We've gone higher when a lot of people obviously think slamming it is faster. So what's gone on there?
Typically, it tends to be new skin suit technology means you can tolerate a higher back angle, but the other advantage is by being higher up, you're more comfortable and your head can come down a little bit lower, and your head being obviously not a very aerodynamic shape, if you can get it low and get it hidden away, then you can really reap some good benefits from.
Great stuff. So what's the overall saving?
So overall saving just in position today, I think off the top of my head was about 8 watts in his natural position and 2 watts in his shrug. It just shows his shrug's more, okay, it's not a big gain, but it means if he can hold that for longer, then he could be in a better place.
So why do you test the 2 different positions?
Primarily because if you were to make a change, for example an armrest change, you come narrower, then your ability to shrug and pull your head down, it can be severely reduced, and we want to effectively assess the impact of what you would do naturally but also what you would do when you're in a shrug position, because we know you can't sustain them both. You can't sustain a shrug position for 4 or 5 hours on a bike. I'd be amazed if anybody can, so you need to assess the impact on both sides of it.
Okay, so 8 watts sounds quite substantial. So what does that equate to?
So good rule of thumb for pretty much anybody out there, most guys between 40, 45k an hour, would be 10 watts will save you a second every kilometre that you're riding. So in Dave's case, 8 watts, about 2.5 minutes for an Ironman.
I mean, that's pretty big, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he's fairly happy with that. He comes away and he's in a better place. He's confident of what he's doing. He doesn't have to tweak about with his position. He can just settle in, get stuck in, and go.
Yeah. So not only can maybe even bike fast, is also actually just ride at the same pace, save energy for the run.
Exactly that. In Ironman, it's not so much an out-and-out time trial now. You're racing against people rather than racing against the clock. So he goes to Kona, and for him, it's actually just getting to that run in a good physical state to go and basically run all the Uber bikers down and hopefully get onto the top step of the podium.
Well, that has been an absolutely fascinating day and a real insight into the level of detail the pros are going into in that search for those marginal gains that we so often hear about. Now, Dave has saved himself an incredible 8 watts today, which is really quite substantial and a substantial amount of time over an Ironman distance. I mean, that could have been the difference between his 3rd place finish and that 2nd place finish, and maybe even that elusive top spot come 2019. Now, obviously the real test now is whether he can transfer that to the race itself. So we do wish him the best of luck with that. And a real big thanks to Dave and Dan Bigham for inviting us along today, because it has been a fantastic day. So if you liked today's video, please hit that thumbs up button. And if you'd like to see more from GTN, just click on the globe and subscribe. And if you'd like to see Dave McNamee's Ironman tips video, then just click down here. And to see a video on how to improve your average speed on the bike, and then just click down here.